So welcome, welcome. I told everybody about you, gave them your background, and how much you paid me to come on. So let's jump right on in. What the heck is going on in the border? Why, we saw that Governor Abbott sent the National Guard, elite SWAT team. Are they actually protecting the border, or, what's going on? Or is the federal shoving them to the sides and making them babysit too? I mean, there's just so much swirling around and up here. I don't know what's right and what's wrong anymore. Fill us in.
Sure. Well, first of all, I have to tell you that I brought back something from Mexico, so I'm not up to perfect health, and I will be coughing a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm
Oh,
sick.
you know what? We're a perfect pair because we've got the fires and the smoke coming down from Canada for New England. So our
Oh,
skies are horrendously hazy. All I can smell is smoke. I keep going around thinking something's on fire, and my throat's on fire at this point. So we'll cough together.
okay. So yes, the Texas governor actually did something this time. I watched it in real time over several days. It was real. He put National Guard on the riverbanks behind concertina wire. Texas DPS, they had paint gun pepper ball weapons
Yep.
that they brandished. If you come through here, we'll shoot these at you. You're not passing through. And most of all the time that I saw, I guess all the time that I saw, the migrants that were just crashing over the river and then storming up the banks were stopped,
Okay.
and they would try to laterally find an opening, but the troops would just follow them and would not let them go through. And eventually they swam back to Mexico and shut the whole sector down. Eventually, all of the immigrants that I talked to said, "We're not even going to try it. They're stopping us."
So thank God for that. So what
It,
about
it
the federal National Guard that 46 sent down? I can't even say his name. 46 sent down there that are, swaddling with diapers and doing paper. What was that all about? So, what are they going to do? Just slide them down the slippery slide right into the United States?
Absolutely. So their plan is to just get everybody in, as many people as they can, right into the country. Uh, there wasn't a single border patrol on the line there with Texas Department of Public Safety or the National Guard. They kept their distance. The Mayorkas administration of DHS held a press conference at one point and said that they had the Department of Justice looking into whether what Greg Abbott was doing was legal. So that this may not be over. I think that they're studying, whether to bring charges or a lawsuit or try to get an injunction against this kind of thing. Because the Biden administration doesn't want to stop any of this. They want to bring it in. And in fact, while I was there, I broke a big story about the fact that the Biden administration was colluding with the Mexican immigration to bring them in over the river.
Yep.
Okay,
Hang on one sec.
wait.
Put that
Yeah.
up, Chris. I want to show you if this is what you're talking about. I think this is what I talked about just before you came in. Can you put up, I think it's picture number 2, Chris?
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Because I just got this off social media like 2 days ago, I think. Hope he might have pushed him away.
But yeah, so the
You're colluding with
Me
Mexico?
the Mexican immigration officials told me that the Americans were telling them when to send the swimmers over.
Yep. So is that what you're talking about there? An encrypted online
Uh,
chat?
yes, that's right. That's right.
So that is
Uh,
true.
it is true. And what happened was the Texas uh, governor got in the way of it and said, "You can call them all you want to bring the swimmers over, but we're not letting the swimmers in." So it set up for this kind of federal state conflict about which I think they're still mad
Yep.
because I think this collusion has been going on already for a while and was going to continue to go on. Now, right now, we're in a lull. I think in that sector where I was, that they put a stop to it, but there are other sectors where the immigrants are nervous about the new policy. They don't really know how to think about it yet, and so they're not coming over in large numbers right now through the illegally.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Go ahead and keep
so
that
there
going.
we are in a lull. The administration is busy taking victory laps over this. But I think that this is a victory lap in the way that George W. Bush did a victory lap on the aircraft carrier right after the Iraq invasion.
Hmm.
And that war was far from over. And I think this one is far from over as well.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you're not a constitutional attorney, but I know you're very
Not
smart.
even close.
Well, guess what? I think we all are at this point because our legislators and politicians haven't a clue as to what the Constitution says and doesn't say. They just keep making up their own stuff and shoving it down our throat. So that's my personal opinion. So what happened to the state sovereignty? I don't understand, because every governor has the right to protect their borders, because technically we're still countries within the States of America. I don't understand the issue, apart from they don't want it to happen, why Governor Abbott and the governor in Arizona and all border states, and actually any state, can't say we don't want them. Send them back. We're not accepting them. You're destroying our economy. You're destroying our state. And how the United States administration, how the Biden administration has the right to supersede and just step on our heads and say, you will like it, you will deal with it, shut up and sit down.
Right. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I will tell you that the Abbott administration has always been reticent about claiming deportation authority over foreign nationals. They're worried that, their officers will be arrested and charged with kidnapping if they try to do that. And that's kind of the bottom line. It's such unsettled constitutional science that I don't think he wanted. And Abbott is a lawyer.
Yep.
Uh, and I'm frankly, a little bit confused about why he waited for 2.5 years to put the troops up there on the front and say, "Thou shalt not pass."
Yep.
Um, I mean, they could have done that a long time ago,
And it could
and
have
it
stopped
worked.
a lot of the
It, it,
surges, right?
it worked. I'm telling you, it worked. It really worked.
So talk to me about, if you know about it. I also reported that, so they're sending busloads of these illegals, and we've got numerous videos down on the border of them loading them onto these white buses, 10, 20, 30 of these white buses, loading them on, and Border Patrol or National Guard or police or whoever they are taking their trucks, parking them between the journalists, social media journalists, so they can't see, we can't see who's getting on the buses, totally protecting the anonymity, keeping the anonymity of these illegals. No transparency to we the people, we the media, we the taxpayers, we the citizens of the country, and actually getting downright nasty. Back up, back up. They've got, their ARs and their rubber pellet guns and all this other stuff. I don't understand this.
I didn't see that. I'd like to see that. When we
I'll
hang up,
send
I'm
that
going to go
to
look
you.
for it. But
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, if you do your reporting in Mexico before they come over, there's none of that. Nobody cares that you're filming them right in their faces and interviewing them. Nobody cares. So the place to catch these immigrants is in Mexico before they cross, like I did.
Okay.
And I think that the administration would probably take the position that now they're officially asylum seekers and have to be, their identities have to be protected from their persecutors. So they would probably argue that, we can't let you film them, which is ridiculous. But because you can film them in all kinds of other places.
Right, but not getting on the
Uh,
buses and where they're going. The
but let me just add one last thing. The the driving, motivating uh, reason for almost everything that this administration does is we don't want to be have bad political optics on television. Period. That is their number one. They don't want television cameras on mass numbers of people moving into the interior because they think that it might hurt them in an election. So part of what that is got to be about is, we don't want to be showing just bus after bus after bus being loaded up. But I tell you, I've been shooting that kind of video for 2.5 years straight. I
Yep.
know all the places to go to where you can see that all day long, all night. Any bus station in any South Texas city, you can find that. If you go to the Chicago bus station, you can watch them. The buses come in and then get off the bus, and as they're rolling off with all their stuff, any city you can see this. So
So in the end, what is I mean, these illegals are being dumped, left virtually. Yeah, here you go. See you later. Never to be talked to again. Again, they're being given these phones that apparently have GPS on them, courtesy of the Biden administration. But my cell phone bill and your cell phone bill is paying for that. So here's your phone. We can track you. If they're smart, they dump them. They find a ton of them. I heard, on the border, they just smash them and leave them there. Those that take them with them allegedly are tracked. But here's the thing. They don't have court dates for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. They're talking more 10 years now. Are we paying for those phones and that service for 10 years for all these people?
I don't know the details of that, if I'm being honest. I have to presume that we're paying for it. I don't think that those phones are like, you know, cool iPhone 13s. I think that those were I think they're limited capability phones, just for
Okay.
the record,
Yeah.
uh I mean they're not the big expensive like you get an
Right.
iPhone 13. And I'm not sure they're doing that still, are they? Did you see that recently? I think they
I
had
did.
to stop doing that.
I'll send
Okay,
you
okay.
I'll send you that clip, and then I'll send you the video as well. It's just all this stuff keeps popping up, and we just go back and forth and round and round. And what I don't understand is, are the people in Texas pissed off? Because we're not hearing it, and I'm sure they are. But please assure me and my audience that the people are pissed off and not liking this.
Well, this is a red state with a lot of blue cities. And so when you say the people of Texas, I mean, we are a diverse 26 million people. I live in Austin,
Okay. Mm.
which is okay. And so the point being is that, if it's just like anything else, it falls along partisan lines. There are a lot of rural ranchers who are extremely perturbed by all of this.
Yep.
All of those border towns and cities hate it. Those Latinos down there that have always voted blue are voting red now over this. The oh yeah, um,
Wow.
yeah, and the issue did not hurt Greg Abbott in his election. He stomped all over Beto O'Rourke.
Thank God.
Um, and I think a lot of that had to do with this had to do with this issue.
So the ranch. So we do get stories that come out about the ranchers and finding people asleep on their property. They find dead
It's
bodies.
terrible. Yeah,
Is
it's
there any
awful.
help for them? Are they getting any help?
Well, I mean, Border Patrol will patrol their territory or their land. But these are Texas ranchers. They can kind of take care of themselves. You know, they all have guns. They sleep with them now. They'll always tell you, yeah, I never slept with my gun, but I do now. There is a profound sense of insecurity in the ranch land all over Texas. Guarantee you that. That is a true thing that they never had before. All the people coming through. Uh, and
So
so,
they're losing property, they're losing animals, they're killing animals, stealing, breaking into the houses.
yeah, they're profoundly uh, insecure by what's going on. You know, their fences are being cut, that kind of thing. And this has
So
been going on for 2.5 years. I mean, there's
yeah,
everybody's got stories. They all have stories down there on the
horrendous
ranch.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at what point at, does this become I don't know if treason is the right word to use, but I was talking with Stiletto while we got you on. I always thought, and I was always taught that that POTUS's number one job was commander in chief, CIC. He was to protect the border of the United borders of the United States because we've got an 800% through the roof of the northern border, which is an hour from me. And they're coming over 800% rise percentage. It's insane. And so I can imagine what's going on down there, much higher. But I thought the president's number one job as commander in chief was to protect the borders of the United States and its people. And so I quick threw it in while I was talking. And as I said to Stiletto, this guy, Stephen Aftergood of the Federation of American Scientists, says we're wrong. We're all wrong. We've been taught wrong. Of course, we know, we've all been lied to for years. I quote, the supreme responsibility of POTUS is to protect our system of government, not the safety of individuals or their physical safety. Excuse me? I think somebody's, liar, liar, pants on fire, but that's a pretty disgusting thing to put out. I really thought the president's job was to protect us. Now, obviously, this one has an agenda. He isn't going to, if that is his job, he's not following it. He wants to bring as many people in here and destroy our economy, destroy our country. My brother lives in San Diego. The average wait in the emergency room is 12 to 16 hours. If you're really sick and you've got a problem, they're all going to hospitals outside of the major cities because otherwise they're going to die. These are American taxpayers, Americans that pay for insurance, Americans that do everything right and are now put at the bottom of the list. It's absolutely inconceivable. And yet I don't hear people screaming and yelling. I hear me yelling and screaming. I hear you yelling and screaming. But
Well,
what the
yeah, I
heck?
mean, somehow immigrants manage to get a premium of civil rights and human rights in the United States over. I mean, you read the story in the New York Post the other day about how all these homeless veterans got booted out of their
Yes.
shelter so that they had room for illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know,
Where are
veterans.
we living? Where are we living? What country is this? Everything's upside down. Right is wrong. Wrong is right. Black is white. White is black. And screw you, Americans. I don't know where I'm living right now, and I really don't know where to go.
Well, everything's upside down. I mean, listen, when it comes to illegal immigration, this administration is the very first one ever in the history of the republic to actually say out loud and then follow through with action that they are going to abdicate, uh, from their duty to protect and defend the border. And they say it all the time.
Yep.
They say it this way. They say, our job is not to deport or deter, it's to facilitate safe, humane, orderly immigration over the border. That's not blocking, deterring, and stopping. That's what the law says you have to do.
Yep.
That's bringing them in.
Correct. And there's an app. I think you told us.
Nobody's ever done that.
No, this is a first. And I think people are incredulous and they're gobsmacked and really don't know what to do. And I'm going to start taking my paintball and shooting people in the derriere and saying, let's move it, people. I'm done with this. I'm not waking up any more sheep. I'm taking my pride of lions and we're going forward because this stuff has to stop. I mean, it has nothing to do with, oh, I'm intolerant, I'm racist, I've been called everything, and my skin got really, really thick really fast. How do you destroy a country? How do Republicans and Democrats, because they're both guilty, how do they sit on their hands and allow this country to be destroyed and ignore their constituents, we the people who actually elected them? Maybe it's time we all, start our own grand juries the way they were originally intended and take the power back.
Well, the reason this is happening, I think, in large part, is because we are divided as a nation politically, and the two chambers are always at odds with each other. So nothing can be done legislatively. So what's left is, especially on immigration policy and border security, is that you have a power vacuum that the executive branch then takes. The only other rudder that is available would be the judiciary. And sometimes the judiciary actually, puts a stop to some crazy stuff. So it has to go to the Supreme Court, but we don't have a Congress that can that is united enough to do anything about
Correct.
this problem. And that's really what the problem is that the country, half the country hates the other half.
Yep. So we're also hearing that a lot, we just heard yesterday and today that they're taking the busloads of immigrants and these people and they're putting them into the public school gymnasiums. Now, to me, coming from a family that's 911, military, EMS, and police, you're now exposing. So we're all about, oh my God, we don't want anybody coming into the schools. They got everything locked down. We got cement posts in the front so nobody drives through the door. You got to be buzzed in, you got to give your firstborn, you got to do,
Yeah.
fingerprints and elbow prints, DNA swabs before you come in. But now we've got boatloads of immigrants being dumped in our public school gymnasiums. They've got direct access to the children of America. You got disease. You've got security, safety. Are they wandering around the schools, or are the police going there and making sure they stay in the gym? I mean, what's going on? This is a huge safety issue.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of
That's
line
like,
of sight on that one.
yep,
I know that that the whole country is struggling to find places. Uh, they're putting them up in five-star hotels. The government's renting the whole hotel building, uh, kicking people American homeless out of the shelters and putting them. And so it's a big mess, and it's only going to get worse. This cannot go anywhere but worse. So
what's the
this,
likelihood that the military might step in? Could they? Would they?
and no, not as long as
He's in charge.
well, yeah, I mean, he'll use the military for administrative duties and, take the bullets out of the gun. But, I think that the Abbott example really kind of demonstrated that you can stop this with just non-lethal stand your ground tactics.
Yep. It's just a show of force.
Yeah.
Yep. So before I let
You
you
don't
go,
need,
I know
yeah.
you're joking. What is the San Diego? What's California? The San Diego. What is that like? Do they have the same problems as Texas or no?
No, it's a little bit different out there because there's a lot more wall.
Okay.
And remember, walls work really well.
Yeah, they do
Uh,
in China.
if if they didn't work well, you wouldn't hear a bunch of squealing about them.
Hmm.
Uh, that's the funny thing about walls, as an aside, is I was listening to somebody today complaining about how, like, we should never have these walls because they don't work. But if that's what your belief is, that they don't work, why wouldn't you just shrug your shoulders and smirk about it
Yeah,
and
and
go
say,
about your merry
we
way?
told you.
No, they don't work. Just like, who
Yeah.
cares? It's great. We're still going to be getting over the wall. But anyway, one thing that is happening that I think the American people don't know, they won't
Hmm.
see, two things actually, is there is this program called CBP One. It's a humanitarian giveaway, permit giveaway. And they expanded this thing in a huge way. And now what you won't see immigrants in big, long lines coming over between the ports of entry over the border, but they're in line at the ports of entry, being let in through the ports of entry with these permits. Thousands and tens of thousands. There you go.
They've got the phone app. I think you told us about that in
That's right.
February when you were here. The phone app, and that just came out recently.
That's been expanded. They
Oh,
won't tell us how much, but vastly expanded. I have a good friend a reporter who is down at the Tijuana border now, and he says that it's hundreds and hundreds of yards long, the line of people waiting to cross in on their little CBP1 apps. And I was just in coming over from Matamoros to Brownsville, and there was 100-yard line of them there. So every port of entry is just like day and night bringing in the immigrants. You just don't see it because they're covered. They're buildings. They're inside buildings or under covered awnings,
wow.
and so
Yeah,
you can't see it.
I'm surprised they're not bringing them in through was it El Chapo's tunnels underneath? Oh, wait a minute, they blew those up.
There's no need to, because we're just giving them legalization and saying you're legalized, even though Congress never approved this. And I
So
mean, you're going to be looking at just hundreds of thousands of people coming in this way, and then the whole time they'll be taking a victory lap because they came in this way instead of illegally through the ports, between the ports, and they're already taking these big victory laps. And look how the numbers are down. The numbers are down,
right, because they've done it
except
through the legal
they're
act.
up
They can,
because
yeah.
they're up over here. So
So
that's going to be happening.
so is this app exclusively for those claiming asylum, which we know is a huge joke? Because if you're claiming
No,
asylum, no, what is this
no,
app?
it's
Just
for everyone and anyone, and they don't check. It's supposed to be for humanitarian protection,
okay.
but they never ask you to make a claim, nor do they interview you about whatever claim you should have made. It's just an entry program. They don't actually do anything about humanitarian protection. There's no interview. They give 99% of all applicants are granted one of these. They just have to wait.
I, I, I,
They're
I
just
mean,
letting them in. They're just letting them in.
it kind of reminds me of because I do a lot of work with Daniel Richard in New Hampshire, David Jose in Arizona, and a couple of people, and we're looking at the whole absentee ballot things, and I'm just thinking to 2024, what happens with all of that, with all these illegals? You know, what's going to happen with our ballots then? Is anybody going to them if they're letting them in on a stupid phone app? Oh, I really need to come here. Okay, come on in. Plus, we got the asylum seekers that there was a couple families that spent like 5 years, 10 years in Brazil. They had left someplace because of, their lives
Right.
were in danger. They went to Brazil. They lived there. They had houses. They started a business. They had money.
Right. Right.
And then they
Right.
went, oh, let's go to America. They left there and they got here and they're like, oh my God, what did I just do? This is a third world country. And they can't go back because they got rid of everything. They may end up going back. But I mean, oh, I'm claiming asylum. I'm sorry. There were seven countries between where you left and here. And asylum is you go to the very next country and you stay there. But I don't understand.
It's asylum fraud. They're committing asylum fraud and they're lying on government documents that they're coming from some kind of dangerous place. And that is a prosecutable felony in this country. I hope the next administration will start prosecuting for that.
We have to have a judicial system that'll do that. We got to have somebody that's actually going to step up and do that. You're absolutely right. But what do we do in the meanwhile?
Just take it. Nothing. Just take it.
There's nothing we can do.
Nope.
Well, then
that's where I'm at.
Oh, okay. So in your opinion, in my opinion, I think the millions of us need to stop paying property taxes. And I think we need to just be like, we're not paying any more taxes because taxation without representation. Figure it out. That's what I come up with.
Yeah, but they've hired all these new IRS agents. So,
Of course they did. Boy, we're boxed in, aren't we? So
Yeah.
what's your next project? Where are you off to next? And if you can't say I understand that, just say down south.
No, I mean, I will return to the border.
Yep.
I just need to take a little bit of a break here. It's been a rough week, and I got sick from it. So, but it was a good trip. So I will be returning, and I'll keep writing about the border. I'll tell you exactly what I see. I'll show you what I am seeing,
Okay.
and I'll write. I've been writing a lot. I have a big piece out in the New York Post today. I
Okay.
had a couple days ago, I had the front cover of the New York Post
Wow.
about Greg Abbott's operation. And so, I'm doing a lot of media interviews, and then I've got
It's
a
on
little bit of travel. Yeah.
So
So
what we'll do
anyway,
is next time you come, I'll have you send us a little bit of video so we can put that up. We can set it up and you can tell us what's going on.
yes,
Whoops.
sorry about that.
That's
Oops.
okay. So I hope you feel better. I'm so glad you could make it. I really appreciate it. It's all about telling people what's going on. We're not getting it on the TV. We're not getting it in the newspapers. You get it here, there. Like you're telling the story. We know we can trust you, so we can read yours. But in general, like I said, I'm reading this stuff going, I don't know who wrote this. We're looking at.
The coverage is terrible. The regular media coverage is just blow it off. You're going to get nothing. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So, and I was a reporter for 23 years. I know what good looks like.
Yeah, this ain't it. It isn't even close.
No, it's terrible.
Well, thank you so much, my friend. Feel better, and take that special stuff that you're supposed to. That'll knock it right out of you.
Yeah, I will.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Todd. There we go. Poor guy. You could tell he was sick, and so let's send all sorts of good, positive vibes to him that he gets better. So there you have it. Worth waiting for. Absolutely. Have him back and get some of his actual videos so we can see what's going on. So look it up in the New York Post a couple days ago, and front page. Let's follow him. Let's make sure we know what's going on, and let's keep our eyes open, watch our backs, because sounds like it's going to get way worse. And we're just going to have to be very, very careful.